So, ladies and gentlemen, some breaking Buffalo Bills news. Apologies for me not coming live a bit earlier. I was actually out to eat right at this restaurant by the hotel because I figured it was a relatively slow day in NFL news and I didn't think that I would miss anything. But rest be assured, the Buffalo Bills ultimately ended up finding a wide receiver, and that wide receiver just so happens to be Elijah Moore. All right, folks, drafted by the New York Jets, spent 2 years over there with that absolute cluster of a quarterback squad and or room. He ultimately ended up demanding that he was traded uh, right before his third season, goes to the Cleveland Browns, where not much better of a quarterback situation, what so have you. And now we end up finding him at the age of 25 years old. He ran a sub 4.440 at 4.35. While many say that he is better out of the slot position, he has spent the vast majority of his career out on the perimeter. Again, if any of you guys have been watching us looking at this vacant wide receiver spot that Buffalo needed to fill, we have all come to the conclusion. We said, look, we don't need a name. We need traits. All right. And those traits just so happen to be a speedster that has experience on the outside. And I genuinely believe that Brandon Beane and the Buffalo Bills ended up getting it done. I think this fits the mold. And I think the upside of this deal is absolutely incredible. He signed a 1-year deal worth about $5 million, and that is up to $5 million. I always like putting that out into the ether. Anytime you see that verbiage up to, a lot of the times it means that it is largely incentives based, meaning, of course, he needs to hit a certain amount of deliverables. He needs to have a certain amount of receptions, a certain amount of yards. He needs to start each and every single game. But great deal. I think that this fits the mold. And to be completely honest with you, I think that he would be a much larger impact than any wide receiver we could have walked away with in the draft by itself, largely because he's a veteran. And I think that this coaching staff would trust him. I think that he has that resume of being able to learn different offenses. And solid pick, man. Bargain bin shopping. I honestly think that Buffalo ultimately ended up getting the best remaining wide receiver on the market. If you want speed, you got speed. Right now, we have two guys that can run a 4.3 or a mid 4.3. That's Curtis Samuel. Everyone forgets that he can run that fast. And now we have Elijah Moore, who could potentially be lining up on the outside. Have an Elijah Moore, have Khalil Shakir right out of the slot, you have Keon Coleman on the outside, sprinkle in a little bit of Josh Palmer here and there too. We have our speedster. And that makes me happy. And that makes me happy. Folks, this is an emergency edition of the Don Mafia Report. As many of you know, I go live Monday through Friday at about 10 a.m. EST. And then sometimes if there is any breaking news, we have to hop on. Please excuse my background. As many of you know, I am out of town for the next couple of days. So I have been streaming live via my hotel room. Really, so with the anytime that there is some breaking news and or a topic that needs to be discussed, I ask that you please smash that like button if you haven't already. And when you subscribe, folks, make sure you turn on bell notifications because you'll notice that the vast majority of my episodes start with me discussing the topic at hand. And then afterwards, I ultimately end up going over to the live chat where everybody gets to take control of the conversation. I'm very eager to understand what Bills Mafia thinks of this move. Me personally, I absolutely love it. I do need to give a giant shout out to today's sponsor, folks. That just so happens to be William Mattar Law Offices. Guys, if you were ever hurt in a car, you better call William Mattar, #1 car accident attorney in the state of New York. I wouldn't wish a car accident on anybody, but it's very important to have that representation. Let's go on ahead and let's move over to the live chat. Folks, once you submit your questions and or your statements, please do me a favor and label them. Please begin each and every single entry with a Q dash or an S dash. So for everybody that is watching the replay of this episode has a ideal listening or rewatch experience, start flooding in the chat with your questions and or your statements. Shout out Mark is in the chat. He comes in, he says, "Hi Dan, I like the pickup." So do I, man. Listen, let's just say that the free agent, like wide receiver pool was very thin. And I think this is a match made in heaven based off of a player who's still 25 years old. He has stayed healthy his full 40 years within the league by itself. I think half of the reason why he didn't work out is that he just had a carousel of bums throwing him the football. And I don't think that we even saw close to the ceiling of this player. And at 1 year, like $5 million, and hell, all of that shit is basically lined up in incentives. Hell of a damn deal. You cannot be upset with it. Mafia Madness, what do you think the depth chart will look like for wide receiver? So now I feel comfortable, right? So now I feel comfortable as far as players that I think are 110% making this team. 5 wide receivers are 110% going to make it. It's Khalil Shakir, it's Keon Coleman, it's Curtis Samuel, it's Josh Palmer, and now you add in Elijah Moore. So that's 5, right? 6th spot is going to be determined on who brings the most to the table when it comes into special teams. Maybe it's Laviska Shenault. Say, for example, that he ultimately ends up beating out Codrington for the kick returner position. He could be a guy. But those first 5 names I just listed are going to be 1 through 5, if you were to ask me. Now, worst case scenario, I think that is just great, man. Let's see. Sword Brother Joseph saying, what is WGR 550 going to bitch about now? Hey, man, listen, you know what? So they can't be angry because like 90% of their audience is in hospice care. So like they ended up bringing, and Bean ultimately ended up bringing quite a bit of a new audience right to them in radio, which is a dying content like platform. So rest be assured. And plus, listen, I'm not even going to pretend that I didn't want a wide receiver. I did want a wide receiver, and I'm glad that ultimately we saw that happen. Statement, good point that better than any draft pick and don't need to commit to 4 to 5 years up front. For sure. Listen, it is largely a boom or a bust sort of situation. I feel very, very good about it. So as much as I would have loved the Kyle Williams, or as much as I would have loved a Jalen Royals, like they are all largely very much so unproven commodities. Now we have someone that can at least play, that has upside, that has experience, that I think that will be able to like make it happen. But let's come into it. We have Connor Long, $5. Dan, it pains me to say this, but I think Moore can be a solid player with the right team. See it tonight on the roundtable. Filling in for Richie. Richie, damn, man. Richie's coming on in. All right. Hell yeah, Connor. Listen, man, it's always a good time making it happen. Always a good time right there. We have Bills fan 7883. 6 wide receiver spot is like 52, 53 players on the roster. And Shenault will only make this team if he wins the kick return or the punt return job, which is highly probable because Codrington can't play a lick of defense. Yeah. So I think we figured out who that 6 wide receiver spot is going to be. With the WGR, just got Big Baller Beans, Big Nutsack on their forehead. Wow, man. We have people taking sides in here. And the keys to victory all season long: score first, keep the chains moving, keep our defense well rested. 110%. 110%. Good evening, everybody. Buffalo Snowy. Hope all is well. If Josh can make Mac Hollins look the way he did, I'm not worried about how Elijah Moore could be too. His ceiling is there, folks, right? And again, I would have loved Jalen Royals, and I would have loved Kyle Williams. But at least Elijah Moore has NFL experience, right? I think Moore can be a solid player with the right team. Connor, thank you again for that $5 super chat, my friend. I look forward to chopping it up with you here in about an hour on the AFC East Roundtable. Guys, say, for example, that you are unfamiliar with the AFC East Roundtable. It is myself, a Dolphins fan, a Jets fan, and a Patriots fan. We meet weekly to rip each other's throats out. This week, we are going to be unpacking our draft class and giving grades out of how we think that each of our rival teams ended up performing. Very excited. Very, very excited to knock this out. Dan Fouts, this is the most complete Bills team going into training camp. It's all up to Babich to get his defense right. For sure. Dude, listen, I feel very confident about this roster right now. And it's funny how Elijah Moore being added right to the equation was the missing piece. Because, again, I don't think that he is a big name, that he is like a wide receiver 1 for us. But, like, he was like that last question mark I had. Like, where is our vertical separator? Where is that guy that's going to help us really stretch the field? Now I'm looking at this roster and I'm having a very difficult time looking at where our weaknesses are. And that's even extending into depth, which has been a massive issue for us in the past. So I'm feeling pretty damn good. Skit. And so do you think Bean knocked out this draft picking mostly defense? For sure. For sure. Like, say, for example, I wanted to be like overly critical, that I could be. But so as far as finding a speedster in the secondary that can like run shot for shot with the fastest wide receivers in the league in Max Harrison, very happy about that. A lot of upside with Landon Jackson. With TJ Sanders, although that I wanted a one tech at that second round, I thought one tech was more of a more of a priority. So I think he has a lot of upside, especially with interior pass rush as well. With Deion Walker, he's going to be a project. Love the Hancock pick. Right, in my opinion, he has an opportunity of beating out Cam Lewis afterwards, but we'll see. Yeah. Red Furnace, damn, we got to lose to the same team 5 years in a row now. I get it. We have Dexter. This is a good deal. Moore should thrive in this offense. Many would assume that, right? Like, many would assume that. I'm feeling it right now. Clearly, Bean saw the wide receiver class as less than. He didn't want to waste a good defensive draft on a wide receiver that wasn't going to beat out Shavers or Chenault. And so Elijah Moore's talent is undeniable. Can it be executed, right? Because right now, all we're doing is that we're just speculating that the problem with his game was terrible quarterback play. I think that is the reason. But we're going to have to see it executed during training camp and see what happens. I'm feeling very good about this. We have Los Angeles Limited is coming in saying, would it be completely unreasonable to think Moore could break out this year? He's only 26 in May. So I feel like he has every single opportunity in the world to do so. Every single opportunity in the world to do so. We have Carly. Moore clearly didn't want to be in Cleveland, and so they placed an unrestricted free agent tender on him, so they wanted him still. We have Ian with a statement. Thanks for all the great content. Makes the long drives to work manageable. Ian, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. I really do. I'm so glad that you have made me a part of your daily routine. And so I myself, I am also big on listening to podcasts when I am on the road for a long time. So I am just so glad that you've decided to lock in on the show, man, based off of so what is going on in the Buffalo Bills world. We have Darnell Davis. I will not believe in Bean's roster construction until my Buffalo Bills win a Super Bowl championship. Shaking my head. Darnell Davis. Hey, man, listen, we're all waiting for that, man. But I think we have every right to be excited about how this roster does look. Because while we've been excited in the past, I think there's always been a little bit left to be desired for particular rosters. I think this is the first year where I feel really damn good about depth and also projected starters. And let me know, say that I sound crazy right now, folks, because I don't know. Does Curtis Samuel drop out of the rotation now? No, I think that he'll probably still have a share of snaps. We have David Bahamas. He was solid as a Jet. It was just a bad situation with the Jets, like how Cooper was. Got it. Okay. Well, hey, man, I'm feeling okay about this. Why are the Bills obsessed with signing short second-round pick slot receivers from the past? So to be completely honest with you, man, that's really all that we had. And that was really one of our only options. He was hands down the best free agent wide receiver left, right? So I'm good on Amari Cooper. I'm definitely good on Keenan Allen. And plus, he's cheap and a shit ton of upside. Love this pick. Statement. In my opinion, there were only two wide receivers that the Bills should have went after in the draft, and that was Golden and Royals. And with the Green Bay weren't trading back and they never did a visit with Royals, Moore should be solid. For sure. Sarah Christine, woohoo, but we don't need a wide receiver. Hey, you know what? We got one. Hey, we got one. Whether or not you think we need one or we don't, we got one, ladies and gentlemen. He is now this guy. Is Moore a replacement for Mac Hollins? So here's the deal about Mac Hollins. Like, I get it that like he was like fun to watch. He was barefoot and he wore like all like these like super like funny costumes. But like, so he had like 300 yards last year, right? So I really don't think that his production is going to be very difficult to replace in 2025. So I think that say that we had to find a player that was replacing what Mac Hollins brought to the table, it's more of a Josh Palmer. And so I think Josh Palmer is about to absolutely destroy as well. Jon Snow has come on in, says, what will be higher, Shador sacks or more catches? Oh, man. And so that Shador sacks is going to be going crazy. Dan, where would you rank the Buffalo Bills wide receiver roster versus the other 31 NFL wide receiver rooms? Not very high. So not very high, but it doesn't matter because I would probably rank our quarterback, top 2 and not 2 when it comes into the NFL right now, right? Solid ball player. Yeah. What are Moore's best traits as a wide receiver? Fast, Dexter. So runs a 4.35. Like, that's really all I wanted, right? Because many of us know that Joe Brady likes to marry a bunch of wide receivers that are excelling in one specific trait. And the one trait that we were missing was somebody that had that blazing speed out on the outside. And that's what Moore brings to the table. Like, runs a 4.35. I'm very excited about that. Dan the man, how you doing? I'm doing great, man. I'm sitting here in the hotel room. I just got done eating dinner because I have the AFC East roundtable here in about 45 minutes. But I had to come on live real fast to discuss this. So Elijah Moore breaking news signing. We have David. So I miss Hollins as a blocker and on special teams, and Hollins. So he also was a big game Hollins like Gabe Davis was for us. I mean, hey, so Bills will extend Cook mid-season, maybe, hopefully. And so I would rank the receiver room around the 10 to 15 range. Sarah Christine, and this is awesome. He's never played a top, let alone an elite QB. Love the signing, and I am excited. I feel like this is 100% the best roster in the Allen era. Go Bills. So it certainly has the best depth, say that you were to ask me. I now don't feel so concerned about depth at any group. Maybe safety, I feel so a little concerned here and there, but for the most part, I feel very comfortable with depth in case we end up running into any sort of injury. We have Mafia Madness. Dan, where do you think the holes in depth or starters are? Safety. Great. And would Justin Simmons fill that? So I feel like Simmons is definitely getting up there in age. So I'd probably pass on that and just hope that our guys can stay relatively healthy. So there is a lot of upside in Derek Forrest, but then again, he could not make this roster, but he did look good in Washington prior to Dan Quinn taking over, particularly in coverage situations. So I feel okay with him as depth, but I do think that it's going to be Cole Bishop and Taylor Rapp, like right as the starters there. And as much as everyone loves to hate on Damar Hamlin, he's not bad. He's average, right? Like, he's above average, I would probably even give him. Like, he's not good. He's not great. He's above average. So he's solid depth if you were to ask me that as well. We have one of one classic. Let's see if we could go a day without having anything bad to say about the roster. Hollins is gone. He's nothing to cry for. We have to work with what we have. Let's stay positive. Dude, you know what? I love that message. And Hollins almost lost a camp battle to Shavers. Let's be real. And the coaches went with Hollins for veteran presence and special teams ability. If he makes the same jump this year as he did last year, do not sleep. We have William has come in and saying, out of curiosity, how many yards did he have last season? Like 400, I want to say. His best season was his rookie season against the Jets. But all right, folks, I just wanted to hop on here real fast for the breaking news. I'm going to be live on the AFC East Roundtable in 50 minutes. That is my divisional debate show on the Roundtable Sports Network. I really hope that you guys are able to join. We are going to be grading each and every single draft class along with unpacking this Elijah Moore signing. Love each and every single one of you. Smash that like button if you didn't have an opportunity of doing so already. And we will see you here, say in about 45 minutes. Peace.